Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem.
Take a look at what you see there. We are back here on the Laurel lawn. Welcome to Today at the Races. I am your host, Callie Francois, with Keith Fustel, our morning line odds maker, who's got all of our odds for the weekend set up. Keith, are you happy to be back at Laurel?
I'll pass.
No.
It's good to be back at Laurel. Just a little bit longer drive. The car was ready to make a left on, instead of a right on the 695. But no. We're good. Good to be back. I think we've got a great fall meet set up here for us. Maryland Million just a few weeks away. So looking forward to that. Some great stakes action tomorrow.
Yep.
We've got back in a little change in the handicapping. You've got the 1-turn mile. Now the 5.5 with the longer
turf,
longer stretch run through the and things are a little bit different, handicap a little bit differently here at Laurel Park. Good to be back.
Good to be back finally. Very happy to be back and getting into a bit of a routine. And let's take a look at the new routine that we have back for the fall, this Laurel racetrack. As we can see, they're going around. The track is fast and the turf is firm. No rain coming today. It is a cool 58 out. It is fall is here. I'm still trying to make summer happen with my wardrobe right now. So we're just chucking a blazer over everything for this weekend for the moment. So give me a week. I will adjust. I will be fine. Not that anybody cares. But let's go ahead and kick on to race number 1. This claiming 16 never won 2. Again, this 5.5 on the turf. Remember, it is a little bit of an extension to that second wire here on the turf. Keith, your top selection is?
I'm going to go with the 7. I've got Chrome Dixie on top. This is going to be a first-time gelding, a barn Robbie Falcone that doesn't run a lot of horses here. But I think there's plenty of speed. You got a little extra time. And it fooled me. I was always under the assumption that these turf races, 5.5, these sprints, get in position. But horses were closing a little bit from deeper spots before we went over to Pimlico. It kind of got me a little bit. I think Chrome Dixie fits the bill here. Coming out of a race, that third place finisher came back to win here for 42 in life with a good number. So first time gelding, a little freshening, going for a higher percentage barn. This barn is like 25% first time running for Falcone. So I think with the speed of Great Assumptions, you've got Refund Wriggler and a couple of these other horses that want to be forward. I think this horse will turn back a little bit off that 7.5 and fire late.
Again, I do like this horse a little bit better at the 7, but as you mentioned earlier, we've got a little bit of that extended front side once we get back here at the 5.5 at Laurel, and that's exactly where I think Chrome Dixie fits beautifully. You mentioned how Robbie Falcone Jr. As of late, Barn Trend, I use Thorough Manager. They tend to take the more recent stats, shorter sampling, but more recent. So on air, I'm going to tend to start calling them Barn Trends. But 30% new trainer, 29% first after the layoff. I think that time off is going to do Chrome Dixie good. You go with the number 2, Eliezer, Charlie Frock underneath for Forest Boys. Forest Boys not usually in the saddle for Charlie Frock, but today we've got her.
Yeah, and I think she'll fit this guy to a T. He was involved in a pretty good duel 2 races back to the inside. Going to be inside again. Just the right kind of rider that can judge the pace through that opening 3/16 of a mile, quarter of a mile, and say, okay, do I go or do I kind of rate back a little bit? She's perfect with these kind of horses. I think this horse doesn't necessarily need to lead like he did 2 races battling up front.
Correct.
He showed some improvement with his dirt number last time out. I think he can bring it back and sit just off of it to make the move. Let's look at Chauffeur. We've got a video of Chauffeur's race a couple races back. Chauffeur's getting back to the right condition.
Right.
Callie, this is a 2 in life. He's been running against the 3 in life condition and faring okay. This race is August the 20th behind Wicked, Mad for Kieran, Password Protected, who've been running very well at the level. Ruiz got the trip, inside-out trip. You like that trip with this kind of a closer. We'll rally into it, I think, today and grab a piece. So, yeah, I go 7-2-8-3. Pantomime's interesting. Bottom side, there is turf. This horse had an excuse, shied from the rail, lost a little bit of action last time, had no flow in front, but churned on willingly. This is worth a try for this 8-year-old gelding to go to the turf. We know the Go Zappers can handle the grass. Let's go to race 2.
Where that starts the early pick 4. Keith, you've got a ticket for us again. How do you play this early pick 4 that starts in race number 2?
Well, maybe we can get a little bit more luck than we had at Pimlico. Maybe Laurel will change the pick 4 luck. Lots of 3s, of 4s. I think race 2 is a little bit of a spread race. Read the Spec is going to get a lot of play. 7-5 on the morning line. I'll use a couple other ones. I go 2, 3, 4, 5. Race 3 with the 2 and the 3. The last sip cross line key scratch. Union League, your 2-1 morning line favorite, has been scratched. We'll look for him another afternoon. Race 4, 1, 3, 4, and 5. Interesting that X-Man goes to Don't Tell Darren instead of Tapping Josie. Looking at all the figs and everything like that. Well, you know why. So there you go. So that's why you've got the inside scoop and I've got nothing. So I've got to kind of read into some other things. But I'm going to spread around here. Maybe the 1 comes rolling late with Barbosa, Hammy at a big price. And we'll go ahead and single in the 5th. One of my better bets of the day, U.S. Constitution. There's Barbosa. We're going to see a lot of Barbosa selections today, tomorrow, and moving forward. He's kind of the hot rider right now, the bug, and he's riding well.
He's rolling. He is absolutely rolling. He's heating up. He's back into that fine form and fashion that he was earlier this spring. But let's kick on to this maiden claiming 12. Going 5.5 here on the dirt. Keith, you go with the number 4, Grow on top for Kieran McGee. Again, Barbosa, we just got done talking about Barbosa. We can't get enough of him right now. A nice quick turnaround. Showed some speed in the past.
Yeah, Kieran goes and searches, gets the services of Jaron. Yeah, I think the debut was good enough. Last time out, it just couldn't quite keep pace. Got a little bit of a pocket between horses into the turn and just didn't fire on for there. Hasn't had this horse long, but the first time trainer stats strong with Kieran. Maybe Grow, aggressively handled. There's not a lot of true speed in here. I think this horse can be forward and stay the trip. Maybe pull a little upset over the 5, read the spec. Making his second start, a quick drop off of that 32 down to 12.5. The 5th place finisher came out of that race at Timonium and Gallup. That was the Jerry Robb horse, Noah Chance, with a big number, around like a 61, I believe, for maiden 45. So you're wondering, what do you think? It doesn't look like the future for Read the Spec. Looks great, maybe. I don't know. They want to attack right now, though, and try to get the win from somewhere just off the pace.
This is a race to look and try and beat that 7-5 favorite, and that's where I go. That's where I go with Buck Wild on the outside. This is my other Charlie Frock price with the blinkers on. I think the shortening a little bit back in distance, and the blinkers on is going to help this guy out. Didn't have the cleanest break last out, so this horse is doing well within the Frog Barn. This is one that's relatively fresh. in the Frock Barn that I think can be taken advantage of as well. So we have, and I think some of these forms are carrying from Pimlico to Laurel in the past 6 starts. From Pimlico to Laurel, 2 winners, 3 thirds. So I would definitely keep Buck Wild, if not on top. Underneath, for a price, I like the 8-1. But
Okay.
race number 3 is our maiden claiming 30, mile and 16th here on the dirt. Keith, you go with the number 2, which I have underneath. We switch on and off and are exacta the last skip for Suzanne Sistinius. Kevin Gomez, coming off of a nice come-from-behind trip last time out.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to get a huge price in here. The 8 looks like my stranger kind of a horse. Alvello, Madison Myers, horse first Lasix, I think, stretching out on the turf. Maybe took some play in debut. But the last sip just needs to save ground. I think there's going to be a little bit of flow. Crossland held very well last time against a 3-5 shot. Heavy favorite for Brittany Russell. Game effort. Has run against Grand Manor before, gotten the better of that one, and held on well too. So they look like the speeds that are going to go out and kind of set the pace here, the 3 and the 4. I think the last sip, 3 or 4 lengths out of it by the 3/8. Hopefully he can just kind of steadily progress, but save ground. The wider trips have hampered his finish. If he can just do that, I think he dressed right up to him and gets by late.
There we go. We go with the number. I go with the number 3 on top. Crossland, who is a bit of my best bet of the day. A big scratch in the number 5 in Union League. Kind of opens up for a Crossland a little bit. This is a 1-pace 3-year-old gelding that has taken a bit of a turn after a little bit of that break. Jaron Barbosa yet again. Jaron Barbosa has been getting the best numbers out of this horse's career thus far. So why not roll with it? Keep going to the lead. See how long you can last. Of course, I'm not one to take a need the lead type, but on this kind of race with this kind of setup, we have a couple of these horses that need to go to the lead and die off. This is the least vulnerable of those speed horses.
I think he can rate just off if he needs to. He prompted the issue of Grand Manor going back, but the really gutsy try. He got away a little slower early, but really held well. This horse was dead game to the wire. I think the extra ground shouldn't hurt his chances. Yeah, Sweet Street, a little bit of a flyer there as a possible price play as well. So there you go.
As well. 2, 3, 7, 8 for Keith Fustel. Race number 4 starts the Rainbow Pick 6, which I conjured up a ticket for you guys. I go with the 5 and 8 in this one. We will get into the Don't Tell Darren situation, or my theory on it at least. Race number 5 and 7, that is where I go wide in those events. I think those can be taken by really anybody. Race number 6 is where I go in with that single on Boss Logic for Jamie Ness. Angel Cruz is the second after the claim, hitting nearly as a barn trend at 40% with that. So that ticket totals up to $57.60 as I go with triples on both race number 8 and race number 9. And let me scroll back up to race number 4. And this nice allowance optional claiming 62.5, 5.5 on the dirt. Keith, you and I both land on the Brittany Russell second time starter.
Basarati. Do we have a video?
We do.
Of Basarati. I'm a little late to the table here. Just want to make sure we had them all arranged right. What I sent in.
I got you covered.
Should remember, but you know, yeah. Here we go. Basarati. Now this was the surprise of the Timonium meet. Brittany Russell with a first-time starter. They go seek out the services, of a bull ring rider, right, in a Moldovar. 11-1. How did this happen? I have no idea. I think line was the morning line favorite, maybe 3-1.
You mean the 11-1? How did the 11-1
just
happen?
Can't believe. Right. Cannot believe this horse got off at 11-1. Prompted the pace. A very fast horse in Lady Serenity, who came back to win at Pimlico on a sloppy sealed track. It's very late to switch leads there, as you saw in the video, but eager from there. Once she switched over, she just kept on going. I think the stretch out is fine. You're looking at a family second Dan won a lot of races. Won her first 3 actually, was very, very fast. Showed the ability to sit. The Gervins have been running well. I shouldn't say the Miss George is the Gervin, but I think Basarati right back from somewhere just off the pace, because there is a slew of early speed. This horse is going to have to settle like she did last time.
Well, any horse that can sit right off of it going a half a mile, that's always something to say of that as well. Had a nice gallop out again. I think there was a weekend prior where Brittany Russell had a first-time starter or two. Those did not go off so well. So then that's where we bring in Jerry Almodovar and just Gerald Almodovar known as Jerry, just kind of bringing in with that bull ring experience. And I think that's where the 11-1 came from. You have Holy Boss, who's 19% with his second time start, and Twirling Candy, who's the Dam Sire, who's also 20% with his second time start progeny. I think this one is going to come up just fine for Brittany Russell. Don't tell Darren.
Yeah,
so,
here you go.
All right.
Give me the scoop on
Here's
the
I don't have
3 and the 8.
I don't have the told out that. I don't have the confessional scoop. This is just my theory of how this. So, Jerry Robb is calling the shots of where Xavier Perez of which horses he's riding. I think so. This is it. It's not. It's not where Xavier says, I like this horse over. It's Jerry says, no, you're riding this one. So I see I see Josie needs a speed rider, needs an aggressive speed rider. If you're not going to have Xavier Perez, you're going to have Carlos Lopez. So I think it's just a matter of this filly is going to fit. Carlos is going to fit this filly very, very well. But Darren they were a little bit high on the hog on him, on her, just leading up into this first time start. They didn't run her at Timonium, which I think it's more. I like that for her that she didn't run at Timonium. They had her in here at Laurel. She's been going nicely. They like the horse. The barn simply likes the horse, and I think we're going to continue seeing this again. This is I think with the Brittany Russell starter, it's going to gear things up for this one, and plus. Speed on an outside post, why not? That just it fits up so well for that filly.
Yeah, certainly. It looks like extra ground down might not hurt this one at all either. Really kind of wide and late, kicked away an extra 5 or 6 lengths through the final furlong. Impressive debut. Numbers, that's the toughest part with these 2-year-olds. These light race, we got horses Lasix, on Lasix, off Lasix. That's the elephant in the room.
Right.
You got to pay attention to that as well. So maybe there's something there. I don't know. But Tappan Josie just ran into a killer. The last couple of horses won another stake at Delaware yesterday. And Miss Georgia I thought ran well. Took a little bit of pressure and kicked away late. Just overstepped everything kind of last time. That was a big reach in the spin away. Good effort over this racetrack. I think you'll see Miss Georgia getting back on her game, maybe from just off of it as well. The one is the blow-up horse if everything just decides to kind of pack it in. Here comes Gormley's Gabrielle. Jaron's going to be saving ground as long as he can, then find that path home.
Right. As far as Miss Georgie, I like Miss Georgie. I'm just keeping with fillies like that. Sometimes they need. We don't know. So I'm giving this filly just a chance to maybe get into a race again, especially with who's up against her. They got excited. Spinaway was just a bit ambitious, and we have Victor Carrasco. She doesn't ride Victor a lot, so she usually puts Victor on the really, really good ones. So she's never puts Victor on one of these horses that really is trying. So I think she's hot on this horse, and I think she's got Victor on for a reason.
She's got some talent. She was a little bit green through the stretch when it lay in a little bit, but when she kind of put it all together late, she spurted away. She didn't kind of gradually get away. She spurted away from that other horse that wanted to give her that challenge in mid-stretch. Good little competitive field. We'll see. I think Tappan Josie should be the favorite, but maybe not. With the switch of the jocks. With the switch of the jocks,
race number 5 is a 1.16 miles here on the turf in the starter optional 20. Keith, you go with the 1 U.S. Constitution on top for Mike Trombetta. Jaron Barbosa, I'm personally a huge fan of this horse.
Yeah, like I say, one of my better bets, if not the best bet of today. You've got a race that's pretty much devoid of any speed, and you're looking at his kind of running line. So he really doesn't, last couple show much. I think that's maybe why the switch. Jaron a little bit. He'll go ahead and play aggressive tactics and put this horse into a position. They want to win out of this guy. I think he's going to be able to get the stalk and pounce kind of trip. Smile Bryant, I want to say William Humphrey.
Why not?
Kind of going ahead and getting aggressive and trying to set the pace. Maybe Dance Until Dusk, the 5 horse with the blinkers going on, will be part of that flow. But I'm kind of just staying away from the deeper closers in here. When they might come up and bite me, but U.S. Constitution should be forward a long way in race 5.
Yep, that's where I come in. I'm coming. They might be coming to bite you with Dancing Till Dusk underneath. Sheldon Russell, especially in that last go with the blinkers on. That's going to be a bit of where this horse is going to be placed individually. And
Yeah.
I'm referring, with the blinkers on, 2-bag winning effort. I'm just going to go off of a winning effort. A winning effort is a winning effort. It's at Penn. The numbers didn't come back too disrespectfully, so why not? And just this I'll defend is a bit of a price play for the day with this Jamie Ness off of the layoff. Really impressive turn of foot as shown in the works. I'm just going back to those 2 events on the turf, and outside of the wins, the turf is where this horse has been closest to the wire as far as finish. So just gave him a winter break, gave him a campaign, putting in some nice works. I am 6'5". I typoed, guys. Sorry. I am 6'5", 8'7" on that. And Keith Fustel, 1'3", 5'7" in that event.
We'll forgive you.
We will be right back.
Yeah.
We will be right back for a commercial break. But actually, we're going to hit up race number 6.
We're going to go 6? Okay.
We're going to hit up race number 6 really quick before we head up to that commercial, where Keith, you and I both land on Boss Logic, who is my single on the ticket for Jamie Ness. We're coming second off of Acclaim, where a barn trend of 40% with that, with Angel Cruz. Front running Angel Cruz. I like it. There's a lot to like there.
Yeah, stat of the play. Going to be a shorter play in here is Boss Logic, 8-5 on the morning line. But did we have that stat for Jamie Ness? Yeah, last 3 years on the dirt, 40%. Look at that, Cal. 32 of 80. Second off of Claim, following a win, a positive ROI of 234. We're going that mile and a 16th distance, 2 turns here at Laurel Park. Vinny may try to go a couple of these other ones. Bus Logic, he's run well over this racetrack, cycling back into top form, a stalk and pounce kind of trip for him.
Stock and pounce kind of trip for him. For this, for Boss Logic for Jamie Ness, we both go with the number 6 up against it. Damon DeLavico, Jaron Barbosa, yet again, referring back. So your take on up against it with a new horse in the Damon DeLavico barn.
I'm fine. Damon very capable. We've seen Robert Bowen move some of these horses, right, from Claudio. So a couple have gone to Rodolfo Sanchez Salaman. It's a little chilly out here. Trying to get the words out. But, up against it. Had that perfect trip. I expected this guy to follow through a little bit more at Timonium. But, hey, needless to say, he still works against this field. I think he's going to be fine. 4 for 19 at Laurel. Makes the close. We'll get that ground-saving trip before he starts his rally. Closer look, interesting. Part of a very heated pace battle at Timonium. He's a horse that I thought after that race they might just go ahead and just jam down the 5. They hold the level. This horse still in for 20. Some okay races over this racetrack. Inside position at a mile and 16th here at Laurel on the main track is huge. So I think this horse will be forward. And Sheldon, the type of rider, if a couple of these horses like Milian from the outside want to go ahead and go, he's got stalking tactics he can use.
Stalking tactics he can use. Keith Fustel, 5-6-3-7 underneath, which I have as well with my 5-6-8-7. We are going to take a quick commercial break. We will be right back for races 7, 8, 9, and 10.
When it comes to getting back in the game, there's only one team to turn to. The team more high school, collegiate, and professional athletes train and recover with. That team is MedStar Sports Medicine. For more than 30 years, MedStar has served as a leader in the diagnosis, treatment, and rehabilitation of orthopedic and sports-related injuries. Ranked among the top programs in the Maryland and Washington regions, we offer rapid access to athletes of all levels. Let the pros who treat the pros treat you. MedStar Sports Medicine.
And welcome back to race number 7. This Fillies and Mares Mile and 16th event here on the dirt for this nice interesting allowance that lined up, but we both go with the safe Mitten Maisel for Rudy Sanchez Solomon. Again, Jaron Barbosa taking a front running type approach.
Yeah, the road goes through her. I mean, this is the key. The race, she breaks. She's faster than all of these early. If anybody wants to go with her, you're going with her at your peril, basically. Freshened up, Sanchez Salaman, first time for Rudy, off the barn change. He's been pretty good, though, with these horses 90 days or more off of a layoff. Over his career, about 24%, 24%. This filly, she's had chances at this condition, multiple. It's been disappointing a couple times, but this looks like the group that she should be able to kind of get there off the freshening, get the front control of things, and turn away any challenges through the stretch.
Exactly. Quite imagination for Tim Woolley that you have underneath, kind of trying to make a little bit of a mid-pack approach to this time, probably, right?
Yeah, going to be her first time going 2 turns. And she's a really kind of a tough mare to figure out. 23 starts, 2 wins, 8 seconds, 2/3. It's made some money, $170,000. I'm hoping she can kind of sustain a run. Going 2 turns, maybe this is the answer for her. She's run against the right kind, certainly in the past. Again, I don't want her wide early, wide the far turn. She's going to have to save a little ground to enhance her run. But she certainly has figures that stack up as good or even maybe right there with Mitt Mazel. So I think she's going to be a factor from off the pace. I thought Chica Rabiosa ran big. I know the number really doesn't stick out, but to be able to overcome that trouble at Timonium and still beat that field, Music Amore, that was the horse that won that stake, right? The off-the-turf stake for Jerry Brooks. This was a gutsy effort. Maybe they found something out for her. Joanne Schenkel is riding high right now. So, yeah, there's the barn that's rolling along. Little price play at 12-1 morning line.
And then I go with the Grand Motion horse. The biggest question is why to the dirt? Why not to the dirt? This one, the mare has been producing 11% success on the dirt. So in Grand Motion, he has a barn trend lately. He's 19% turf to dirt. So why not? I kind of trust those prices a little. I trust those numbers a little bit. I think those are going to carry over just a-okay. Let's go ahead and kick off to race number 8 in this nice allowance event, 5.5 here on the turf for the girls. You land on Grand Scarlet as your top selection for Susan Cooney. Sheldon Russell coming off of a nice Colonial effort. Susan Cooney getting back into the swing of things.
Beat the boys last time out, right? Open company. I like that. I think Grand Skylark's got races on the page that would win this race kind of clear, length and a half, 2 lengths. I think this horse can pair up. Do we have a video of Grand Skylark? I think we're going back a little further. Yeah. Here we go. No, we're not. We're going to go to the 5th. September 5th, this last race, just kind of measuring the speed. Battle up front. Well-timed run here by Toledo on Grand Skylark. We're going to get Sheldon Russell today. That's okay. And, again, there's horses that want to be forward in here. Winged Sparkle Sprinkler from the outside, I think, will go ahead and go. I think Grand Skylark going back on the page, races against Polish Gal and the likes, she'll kind of get that trip at a square price too, because that barn usually flies a little bit under the radar.
Right.
And there's lots of ways to go here. Do not take less than 7-2 on any of these runners in the 8th race. Agreed,
including Gal's Gal for Tim Keith. Just a horse, just a filly where the light bulb went on 2 starts back when she broke, and then just a nice run at Laurel in that bump up from that maiden to that allowance. I like that game. This is a filly. Once these Tim Keefe horses get in form, they can stick around in form a little bit. So I liked what I saw as far as grittiness in the Gal's Gal. So I'm just going to go ahead and give her a little bit of a tip of the hat. But you also go with the number 6 underneath. Hitch a ride for Gary Capuano, Jason Barbosa. Let's see what he can do short on the turf with this one.
Yeah. They're out of that same race, right, on the 19th of August over this turf course, a firm turf course. And again, keying up against Island Philo. That's the Susan Cooney horse who's done well down at Colonial, gets a little bit better. So, yeah, I think these two will like the trip they're going to get.
Right.
Hitch a ride, maybe not quite as positionally, but, you've got Barbosa today might have this one a little bit closer, but I like the way this horse closed up last time. Going to be a major player from off the pace.
Major player from off the pace. Race number 8. Keith, you still 5, 6, 3, 4. I go 4, 5, 2, 6 as we go on to our nightcap, the starter optional 30. A mile here on the dirt. Finally, we get back to that 1-turn mile here on the dirt, and I land on the number 2, Absentee, at a little bit of a price. Just a bit intriguing coming over from Parks, but you land on the number 7, Kershaw, for Jose D'Angelo, Charlie Marquez getting the ride here today.
Yeah, no fault. Your top selection has figs, and it looks like it's going back into the right kind of form.
Right.
But, boy, got a beautiful setup last time at Parks at Absentee. I just want to see, can he do it without that, spirited duel up front? But listen, he's got some backlash, some back numbers, so it could work in here. There's lots of ways to go in the night. Kershaw, in first time here for Jose D'Angelo. This barn does well off the claim, 5 for 16. 31% first off the claim off of this type of layoff as well. That's 61 to 180-day layoff. We've got a little video of that one.
We do.
Yeah, from Saratoga. Made a run, only a few lengths off the pace. Had to get position from the 9 post, which isn't the easiest of things to do. makes the little run up to kind of loom boldly here, challenge past the 3/16. Just couldn't quite kick on. Fades a little bit late, beating a length and some change. But I think the mile distance is good. The barn change works for me. To be able to get that kind of position against that group up there means I think he can draft in a little bit. Caribbean, Uncle Jerome was your main speeds. Welling was pretty keen last time, but didn't go that fast. But he looked great on the racetrack as well. I'm going to use him underneath for Kieran Mann. He looked good last time out. But Kershaw, kind of a new face here for a new barn. A barn that doesn't run a ton here, but is deadly off the claim and off of this type of little layoff.
Two new we both go with new faces. I go to 7, and Keith Usla goes in with the Jose D'Angelo shipment for the nightcap, but that is it. Opening day here back in the fall, whatever you want to call it, meet here at Laurel Park, and let's kick into a couple of talking points here in lightning round. An Into Mischief colt out of Hollywood Royal, named New King, commanded 700 grand at the Keeneland September yearling sale in Lexington, Kentucky, headlining the Maryland bred contingent. At the Keeneland sale. A total of 21 Maryland breds were sold, 14 $400,000 or more at this year's sale, which ran from September 12th to the 22nd. That Maryland group had a combined gross of $4,485,000, good for an average price of $213,571 and a median value of $140. So a nice turnout for Maryland over at the one of the biggest sales of the year so far, and a nice turnout for Keeneland.
Got a big sale coming up, Monday and Tuesday. Fezzik Tipton, the yearling sale over at Timonium, and it's some really nicely bred horses over there. That should be a happening sale. I think I saw an Uncle Mo Maryland bred, if I'm not mistaken.
You are probably.
I think maybe. I've just did a quick glance of it this morning, kind of running through, looking at the catalog. Not that I have any money to buy anything, but yeah. It's always good to look.
Always good to look. We'll see how that comes out. But a nice stakes winner for Opportunity, which this horse might not be in Maryland that much longer. But a nice Midnight Parade became the first stakes winner for Northview Stallion Station's Opportunity when she topped an exact into $200,000 implied stakes at Park Racing. A multiple graded stakes winner who earned more than $4.7 million. He entered stud at Northview in Peach Bottom, where he stood his first 2 seasons. But this Midnight Parade was bred by Liz Houghton. She's owned by Hillman Racing LLC and trained by Bernie Houghton. So nice turnout for some Mid-Atlantic locals. But speaking of Mid-Atlantic, we have some nice stakes action coming up here tomorrow in the Autumn Stakes Spectacular, with those nice Laurel Fraternity and Salima Stakes, and then we also have the Chaladin Stakes, the Twix, an interesting Twix Stakes. That's a nicely matched stakes, and then of course the Japan Turf Cup here, 1.5 miles on the turf. But a nice stakes card coming up. I just got an opportunity to talk about it on a couple of internet, radio, podcast shows, what you call it. So, but again, a lot of interest here for the stakes tomorrow. Get a piece of the action. Post starts at 12:40 tomorrow. Keith, what do you got for our best bet and value play?
Best bet. That's the Trombetta horse, U.S. Constitution. Is that the 5th race? The 1? There's a Jack Harmon, 5-1. That's beautiful. The hammer. I don't know if you know the hammer, but that's the number there. 51, U.S. Constitution, Trombetta, and Jerome Bombosa. A little drop here to get it done today.
A little drop. And your value play comes in race number 8, the Susan Cooney Grand Skylark.
I just think it's a wide open race. I've got a 3-1 morning line favorite, like I talked about. You got to take at least 7-2, 4-1 on anybody in here. I think Grand Skylark will be in that range, maybe even a tick higher.
Sure.
Sits the trip from off the speed and should be able to follow through.
Let's go ahead to Dave Rodman for some changes and scratches here on the first day back on the Laurel lawn. From Keith and I, best of luck to everybody.
Good luck.